everyone. I am Mili Saha. I am an associate professor of English at Jagannath University in Bangladesh. My today's presentation title is Integrating Call into Teacher Preparation Curricula, Success and Failure. In my research, I wanted to see if the broader goal of call teacher education is to facilitate second language teachers in integrating call technology into the future classroom confidently and wisely. Hence, the researcher and teacher educators concerned about language teacher skills of integrating call into teaching is related to their call education experience. So if the student teachers in Bangladesh can really gain the appropriate and record education experience to practice call in their classrooms. It was interesting to find that call theory is unneeded. As Egbert and Smith says, educators do not need a discrete theory of call to understand the role of technology in the classroom. A clear theory of SLA and its implications for the learning environment serves this goal. So I believe call helps building the appropriate learning environment inside a language classroom. And some aspects of this environment includes learning efficiency, that is learners pick up language knowledge or skills faster or with less effort with the help of computers. And also computers help effective language learning, since the learners pick up what is targeted, retain language knowledge or skills longer, or learn more of what they need. Thirdly, learners can get materials or experience interactions that would otherwise be difficult or impossible. So that's an easy access to language learning. And learners, some convenience is also considered, since they can learn with more or less equal effectiveness across a wide range of time and places. Next, learners enjoy the language learning process more and are willing to engage in it. That means they are more motivated. I found it in my classrooms. And finally, learners require less space, less teacher time, and less expensive materials using computers. That means institutional efficiency. So I found teachers says that computer reduces their teaching burden. In another recent research, we found that digital competence in English of the teachers comprise 4 aspects. Like one is digital linguistic competence, and the second one is digital technical competency and telecommunication competency, and finally it should be a digital multimedia competency. So we'll check if the learners really have this or they value having this. The recent literature shows that teachers' obstacles, motivations, and maintenance in transferring and implementing call include facility conditions, perceived usefulness, and social influences from learners and peers. Once again, as learning and the socialization impact on practice, and student teachers experiencing flipped classrooms show significant positive attitudes and less anxiety towards using technology for language teaching. That means the learning experiences impact their future practices. And finally, language teacher education programs implement strategies preparing future teachers for educational technology should use reflection on technology so that they can think of technology and the positive and negatives of technology, and they can decide the beneficial use of technology. Why did I pick this research? To be very precise, that I found no local research has addressed the limitations of teaching call materials in university teacher education programs. And I was observing my students, those student teachers, that if they really learn about integrating technology inside the language classroom, so they really do it. So the current study investigates the trainee teachers' perceptions of achievement and disappointment in learning call in language teacher education. It analyzes the student teachers' views about teaching, assessing, and implementing technology in call teacher training courses. And finally, a brief focus on the conflict between trainee teachers' expectations and achievements from the course creates an opportunity of incorporating suggestions on improving the teaching practices and teacher expertise. Hence, my research questions include how effective and practical is call teacher education in Bangladesh? And secondly, what can minimize the gaps between trainee teachers' expectations and the course implementations? To do the research, I chose the mixed method research framework where the participants were 60 trainee teachers who were attending two separate courses, one regular master's course and the other one is a professional master's course in English language teaching and applied linguistics. As a tools, I used a survey and focus group discussions, and I founded both quantitative and qualitative data on student teachers' views about call integration into teacher education curricula. And I analyzed the data both statistically and thematically. So to look at the results, at the very beginning, we see that the learners think the relevance of call course contents to the course objectives is quite effective and good. Since 75% respondents agree that call course content is suitable to achieve the course objectives, although 20% of them are unsure and rest 5% respondents are pessimistic about that. But the broader group is really agreed with the competence of the course content and the objectives. So this is positive. Secondly, we asked them about the course efficacy for the real life technology and teaching. And 60% student teachers agree with its competence, although 20% of them disagree, while other 20% are unsure about it. But still 60% agree with the competence of the course. That means that might be helpful for technology integrating practices. Next, we asked them about what they want to learn from the course, and 51% participants focus on learning how to teach in both synchronous and asynchronous. So this is the impact of COVID-19 period teaching and learning experiences, since now they understand the importance of both synchronous and asynchronous teaching and learning. And the second most preferred knowledge gained by the participants is using various digital study materials. Finally, 22% of them focus on teaching about the technology enhanced language learning so that they can do it, use multiple devices like mobile, tablet, or computers. But and later we asked about the instructors' expert level. How do they evaluate instructors' qualities? Because it definitely decides about the success and failure of a course. Since they are having 3 different course instructors and they are having 2 different courses. So a good majority of 53% student teachers believe the call course instructor has satisfactory knowledge, perception, and enthusiasm. That's good. On the other hand, only 22% of them believe they had expert instructor, and the rest of the 25% view the instructor's knowledge and enthusiasm as inadequate. So since the teachers are different, it might happen. Finally, we asked about them about the applicational or the practical aspects of the course, and they say it is 63% participants believe that the call course taught to them lacks practical sessions and applicational aspects. So this is the most turning point of about evaluating the course success and failure. So 24% of them reject the statement, and the other 13% are undecided about the course's applicational values. So this is a big issue, that if the course cannot integrate technology properly, this cannot be a success. So I wanted to check the correlation between this percentage and gender, and I found that found no considerable impact on the participants' attitudes towards call teacher education. However, a significant correlation between respondents' perceptions about the courses, practical usages, and technology integration from the course, and female learners are more frustrated about technical implementation in the classroom. They want to learn from the class, might be they rely on the class to know about the technologies. And secondly, the nature of course, since they are attending 2 different courses, I wanted to check if these have any impact on the perceptions. So it shows also no significant impact, although one item was correlated, like teachers' perceptions about the teachers, educators' knowledge, presentation, and enthusiasm in teaching the course. So regular students are more depressed about it since the teacher is not trained. So teacher expertise really matter about the call course integration successfully or unsuccessfully. So student teachers have specific expectations from the course, including how to teach using technology inside the classrooms. So they want to, one of the respondents said, I want to know about the internet resources and the platforms such as Google Class or more extended and effective learning management systems that can be used to teach and assess language online. Besides, I need to know and learn about the websites containing authentic teaching and testing materials and procedures, etc. So once again, synchronous and asynchronous learning and the teaching learning materials are important expectations of the teacher candidates. So, but the technology has even higher demand now at this post-pandemic situation, as they believe student teachers usually intend to know and learn very practically about using technology in the language classroom. They wish to work on practical sessions as assignments and use multimedia before the class through hands-on activities. And they say, unfortunately, I couldn't do that, although I learned about the system and the terminology. I believe I have learned more from the online classes. I mean, learning experiences once again, which I never did from the reading the books. If I want to use technology in my future classes, I will have to search YouTube. So that means he or she didn't learn enough inside the classroom. Not only this course, all our courses should integrate technology as much as possible. So this is again the main issue, integrating technology that's needed. So the participants acknowledge the extensive demand and needs of technology enhanced language teaching skills during COVID-19 pandemic. In these current circumstances, the schools and colleges look for online teaching trained teachers who are able to design and create interactive lesson plans. So this really impact the employment opportunity too. So the respondent said, if we could make the technology enhanced language learning course effective and practical enough, we would be preferred in the teaching positions now. I think I learned using technology later. I had attended the course by myself in the pandemic period. So they learn more from learning. In response to the question, which learning need did the course fail to meet, the respondents primarily mention of real life practice and practical sessions. Some of them also state about inadequate study materials provided in the class. So that's important. They need enough materials. And the respondents said, I think this course should be more practical than theoretical, which it lacks the most. In addition, the course contents need modification. So the other issue is the course content and the materials should be provided by the instructors. That should be understandable. Later, the trainee teachers mostly focus on the needs of applying new learning into internet-based language teaching and practical usages. The respondents say, to fulfill the proper learning need through this course, we need to use the knowledge practically and utilize the real examples or experiences. So experiences matters and examples matters. Hence, the classroom should include adequate digital facilities and language. Like if I cannot demonstrate inside my classrooms, how can I demonstrate in my learner's classroom? So that's an issue. So for this purpose, the instructor should communicate the course objectives and implications clearly with the learners. Effective call learning involves preparing digital reading and testing materials and delivering this. So both have equal values, which should be emphasized more in the course. So what we have learned about the importance of technology enhanced language teaching knowledge, but the course failed to develop our practical experience of using technology for teaching and learning language. CALL is basically a high level technology, but our universities cannot ensure utilizing it in the language classes. That means the course is almost a failure, but success is that they have knowledge, but they do not have experience. To recommend something, so when I ask them to recommend something, how can we make a bridge between the expectations and the implementations? So they had 4 suggestions. Firstly, they say the student teacher participants repeatedly suggest about incorporating language lab and digital classroom into teaching call content instead of delivering it traditionally like a lecture-based class. So the teaching should be based on practice and hands-on activities. More practical sessions along with communicating future implicational needs would enrich the course, which is essentially 60% practical by nature. So the course is 60% practical, as they believe it should be something like this. Secondly, teacher efficiency is crucial. They need to be aware of call course teaching strategies and the trainee teachers' learning needs to make the class effective. So they have to understand both the learner's need and the student teacher's need. So they need to use various digital study materials to teach the course itself and demonstrate the techniques. So if I do not demonstrate techniques in my classrooms, how do my student teachers apply the techniques inside their classroom? So this is like a legacy. See, if I practice it, they will practice it in their classroom. If I don't, they can't. So the assessment system needs improvement as well. The course should comprise more practical tasks, inquiries, and teaching practicum, ensuring call activities. Finally, the teacher's expertise to make the class student-centered and call material-oriented is important. Otherwise, the course turns highly theorized and of no use. So practical sessions and demo classes conducted by the learners can ensure each and everyone applying the learning materials. So these are the important suggestions from my participants, and these are the references that I have used for my research. And thank you everyone for hearing me. If you have any question, please don't hesitate to contact me via the following email, milishahadol@gmail.com. Thank you once again for hearing me.